He didn't realize when he started to lose you. It wasn't in a gesture, nor in an unspoken word. It was in the silence, in the absence of presence, in the space he left unfilled, thinking you would always be there. The angels say, her love was an altar. He entered, but he never knelt. You were the answer. He was still the question. And even so, you stayed. You stayed to love what he didn't reveal, to embrace the parts that even he wouldn't accept. You stayed to remember who he could be, even when he only saw his own flaws. But now, everything has changed. Because you started to go silent too. Not out of pride, but out of self-love. And it's in your silence that he begins to hear what he never listened to. He starts to feel your absence as a new pain. A pain that doesn't blame, it simply reveals, it was real. And I didn't see it. You were sent, not to complete him, but to awaken him. To show that love is more than being. It's being present. It's not just saying. It's supporting. His heart already knows what his mind is still trying to deny. You were the woman who loved him the way he always dreamed, but at a time when he didn't know how to accept it. Now, the angels are drawing near, showing that absence teaches, that loss reveals, that silence speaks where pride remains silent. I knew you in the desert, in a very dry land. Hosea 13 verse 5. It was in the desert of his silence that God planted you. And now, it is in that same silence that he will learn to love. He thought time would hold you, that his hope would last forever, that the feelings would be strong enough to keep you, even without presence, even without effort, even without truth. But the angels say, she loved to the limit of her soul. And then, she needed to save herself. You tried to understand his absences. You justified the silences. You convinced yourself that he needed space, time, healing. But gradually, you realized that you were hurting yourself while waiting for someone who didn't know how to return. It wasn't for lack of love. It was due to an excess of giving. You touched a closed heart, and thought that your light would be enough to open the windows. But it was too trapped in the dark. Trapped in pains that you didn't cause. Trapped in fears it never had the courage to name. Now it feels. It feels that it lost you not in a breakup, but in a series of absences. On the days you cried alone. On the nights it didn't arrive. In the times you needed it, and it wasn't there. And this feeling comes like an avalanche. Because you are still alive in it, but no longer nearby. You didn't shout. You didn't slam the door. You just stopped dimming yourself for someone who couldn't see you. And that breaks it. The angels are showing it the moments it ignored. They are bringing back to its awareness the weight of what it let slip by. They are revealing that the silence it created turned against it. And now, it lives within an echo, where the name that resonates the most is still yours. You didn't withdraw out of weakness. You retreated out of wisdom. You felt that insisting would be the same as hurting yourself. And even while loving, you chose to remain at peace. The angels say, she didn't lose herself in him. She found herself again in her own silence. You learned that true love also knows when to stop. That taking care of yourself is not abandonment. It's survival. It's saving yourself. While it hesitated, you looked at yourself. While it pulled away, you withdrew. While it got lost in its own walls, you found windows within yourself. And little by little, the woman who once waited started to live again. You still love it. But now, you love yourself more. And that's exactly what it feels from a distance. The slice of absence that doesn't plead. The strength of a presence that doesn't humiliate. The impact of an energy that doesn't shout, but reverberates. You returned inside. You started smiling for yourself again. You started believing in life again. And this return to his own light made him see the darkness he created. Today, you are silence that speaks. You are absence that teaches. You are space that doesn't close, yet isn't filled with just anything. The angels continue to whisper in his ear, "She remains love." But now, it's love that is chosen. And this transforms him. For the first time, he understands that the woman who loves without losing herself is the most unforgettable of all. He tries not to think about you. He fills his days with distractions, dives into routines, surrounds himself with noise. But deep down, everything has felt quieter since you stopped trying. The angels say, she was the only truth he never had the courage to hold on to. You were a presence even without words. You were care in the details. You were love that didn't demand but healed. And now, he feels the absence of all this with a pain that has no name. Because it isn't the pain of an end. It's the pain of revelation. You were a mirror. You were affection without weight. You were the one who saw his soul before he even recognized it. And that's why he feels so much now. Because no one else looks at him the way you did. No one else listens like you listened. No one else sees the man behind the armor. He thought he could move on. That it was enough to fill the space with other voices, other bodies, other smiles. But no other love has your frequency. No other energy resembles yours. Because you were truth. You were soul. You were a meeting. And what is true, no matter how much you try to forget, remains. The angels are revealing this to him. On the nights he dreams of you. On the days he hears your voice even in silence. In the longing that comes out of nowhere and doesn't go away. You were the woman he didn't know how to love. And now, you are the woman he desires to find again the most. Even in silence, he feels. And in this feeling, transformation begins. He didn't want to fall in love. Maybe he wasn't even ready. But something in you broke down the oldest defenses, those he had built throughout a lifetime trying not to feel too much. The angels say, she didn't invade. She was light where he only knew darkness. You didn't need to ask, nor convince, nor prove. It was in your calm demeanor, in the silent strength, in the sweetness that never backed down. You made him let his guard down without realizing it. And when he noticed, it was already too late. You were in him. In the way he looked at others. In the way he felt lighter. In the way everything started to make more sense, even without explanation. But fear was quicker than courage. He stepped back. He hid. He returned to the familiar, even though that familiarity hurt more than staying. And today, he understands. You were healing. Even without intention. You were the answer. Even when he didn't know the question. He thinks of you differently now. Not in a hurry. But with depth. Not with fleeting desire. But with gratitude for everything he felt and still feels. The angels surround him in this process. Showing that love was not a threat. It was refuge. It was a seed. It was the beginning. And that's why he starts to wish to return. Not out of need, but out of awareness. Realizing that the only time he felt whole was with you. You were the love that brought peace. And now, he wants to be the man who supports. He begins to realize that the love you offered wasn't fragile. It was strong at the root, even if delicate in form. And it's that strength that he misses now. What he feels isn't just longing. It's the absence of what gave meaning even to what he didn't know how to feel. The angels say, she loved with fullness. And for that reason, even distant, she remains present. You were the harbor before the storm, the home before the escape, the answer before the question. And he didn't understand. Or maybe he understood too late. Because now he walks in circles, searching in others for what only you knew how to be. Trying to revive feelings that only existed by your side. Wanting to return to what he didn't appreciate, while you were still waiting. But you no longer wait. Not like before. Now you love with awareness. You love without losing yourself. You love with discernment. You love without needing to save anyone. And he feels it. He senses that time has passed, and you have grown stronger. He feels that the silence which once was protection has turned into an abyss. He realizes that what he lost wasn't just a woman, it was the chance to love truly. The angels continue to guide. They surround him with signs, with memories, with small truths that reveal themselves slowly. Because the love that comes from above does not arrive to confuse. It comes to heal. And when he finally looks back with eyes of humility, he will not see blame. He will see you. In the light that remains. In the love that does not fade. In the silence that still pulses, like an invitation. You were not the end. You were the beginning. And perhaps now, he is ready to start over. You did not hold on to resentment. You held on to silence. You kept everything he couldn't receive. You preserved the love intact, but turned it back to yourself. And that's why he feels so much now. Because you didn't punish him, you simply withdrew with dignity. The angels say, she didn't close the door. She just didn't leave it open anymore for emptiness. Now, he walks through the days with a kind of longing that has no name. It's the longing for what could have been. For what he feels can still be. But now, it depends on him. Because you don't return through words. You don't return through promises. You only return through real presence. Through sustained truth. He feels that. He knows that if he comes, he needs to come whole. Without masks. Without excuses. Without halves. And that's why he thinks so much before moving. Because deep down he understands, the kind of love you offered is only lived once. And if it's to be lived again, it needs to be with commitment. The angels are silent now. Because everything has been said. The heavens have already shown. His soul already knows. You loved him in the rarest way. In the purest way. In the truest way. And he will only love you like you always dreamed. When he loses you in his own silence. And discovers in your absence that it was you who was the most beautiful sound in his life.